going to show you how to install the cable clamp. The positive and negative clamps are the same installation method. So we already removed the fuse from this connection. The first thing we want to do then is tape up both ends of the cable clamp. So once we make this connection, it's going to, both of these wires would be live, and you don't want to short the wires out on the metal racks or any grounding cables that are around. So just an extra safety precaution to put some tape over the edges here of the exposed cables. Then you can set this down without it shorting on any rails or unistrut or metal or grounding cables around. We have a 1.5 millimeter hex driver, so you want to push the set screws out a little bit so that you can properly mark the cable. Depending on the actual insulation, sometimes it's helpful to put a piece of tape over the cable where you're expecting to mount the clamp, and the tape will actually indent a little bit more than what the cable does when we're trying to figure out where we're going to bore the holes. So you can press down on it a little bit, make sure that your holes are going to be marked. So now you can see right where we're going to start boring here. So you take the boring tool. The manual has a drill bit size. You can use a drill bit if you prefer, but otherwise this boring tool works pretty well. So just go right where our marks were. You can pull that tape back off. Now we know where those marks are on this cable. And you just want to, all we're trying to do here is remove insulation. We're not trying to go through the cable by any means. So we'll just keep checking the hole. Once you can see some copper in there, you know that when we set the set screws in, we'll be able to make a good contact. So that should be good. So we've got the holes marked, we got our zip ties ready to go here. So in the manual, it references that the sticker on the cable clamp needs to go towards the post. The actual metal bracket that this is on can sometimes come off in shipping. So a better way to properly orientate the cable clamp is the power wire for the monitor should go away from the post, or the sensing wires for the sensor should go towards the post. All right, once you have the cable clamp kind of assembled like this, we can feed the zip ties underneath, position the plate underneath the cable about where this is going to go. Then I always leave the set screws out a little bit just so that I can locate the hole. So now we're pretty good there. You can kind of slide it back and forth and it shouldn't move. And then we can tighten one side. So you don't have to get it super tight yet. just tight enough that it's not going to move once I take my fingers off here. So now we're set pretty good here. You want to tighten up both sides, kind of go back and forth on making sure that they're tight. That's going to keep the clamp level. I'm going to go back to the 1.5 millimeter hex driver and back these set screws out from their position. This will allow it so that I can get this as tight as possible before the set screws are making contact with the cable. So that should be pretty tight. And then we can start screwing these set screws back in. So you kind of feel when it starts to hit the cable, you'll have a little bit of resistance on. So a quick way to test, to make sure that the set screws are touching the cable, would just be the ring test in continuity on the meter. So that one's not touching, but that one is. So now we know that both set screws are contacting the cable inside of the insulation. We're ready to cut these zip ties off and start wiring up the other sensors.